Hello, it's Ana Pacheco, Santa Fe 101.com. My guest today is Anthony Romero, and he's with the Human Resource Department for the city of Albuquerque. Anthony, do I have your permission to record this interview?
You do, Anna.
Oh, good. Well, thanks. So before I even hit the record button, we were talking about, the city of Albuquerque. I understand that's one of the larger employers in the city. And then for people that might be watching this, Albuquerque, New Mexico is our largest city in the state of New Mexico. It's approximately 553,000 people, but the metropolitan area, all the little towns around it, makes Albuquerque, the population is about 750,000. So New Mexico's population is 2.35 million. So Albuquerque, so Sandia and Bernalillo County, which Albuquerque is comprised of, makes up a big chunk of that. So if you were ever running for state political office, if you win Bernalillo and Sandoval County, you have a pretty good chance of getting elected for that state, that statewide government position. So just a little background for our viewers there. But so how many employees does the city of Albuquerque presently have?
So we can have about up to 6,000 employees. So we have thousands of employees who are my coworkers at the city of Albuquerque.
Okay, and you're one of the larger employers in Albuquerque, correct?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so you were talking about before I hit the record button that right now you seem to have several positions open. So let's talk a little bit about what the availabilities are now, and then some kind of like the hiring patterns. So if people are watching this interview, whether they're here in New Mexico or they're thinking of moving here, this might pique their interests, and they might want to go to your website to look at more things. And of course, to accompany this interview, I will have all the details how they can find you. The jobs available for the city of Albuquerque on your website. So tell me a little bit about it, Anthony.
Sure. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to visit with you today, Anna. This is great. And I just want to let folks know that as I'm singing the praises of being a city of Albuquerque employee, just want folks to know that I've been an employee for 22 years with the city of Albuquerque. And so it has given me great opportunities professionally and personally to be an employee and to serve our city as a public servant. So,
and if I'm not mistaken, this past March in 2021, you became the director of human resources for the city.
I did.
So congratulations, kudos to you. See what 22 years of hard work does? Good for you.
Absolutely. And I will tell you that, as you mentioned earlier, several of our departments are hiring positions. In fact, we have about 97 positions that are currently being advertised on our website at www.cabq.gov. And so when you get to that landing page, you would just hit the jobs link and then click on City of Albuquerque jobs, and it'll take you to the listing of all of those 97 jobs that we are currently hiring for at the city. So we have several departments that are hiring for a multitude of jobs. So we're talking positions from animal welfare all the way to the transit department and everything in between. So we're looking at hiring head teachers, teaching assistants, residential collections drivers.
You're mentioning teachers. So the city of Albuquerque is actually responsible for the Albuquerque Public Schools hiring process?
No, we are separate entities. We do not hire for Albuquerque Public Schools.
So what teachers are you talking about?
So these teachers, head teachers, and teaching assistants are in our early Head Start programs throughout the city that is operated through our Department of Family and Community Services. So there are some positions that we have in the classroom. And so those folks, I used to work in that department once upon a time and used to work alongside the head teachers, and teaching assistants for those programs.
Okay, so you basically give it to me alphabetically. You started with animal wellness, and then you said all the way to transportation. So that's A through T. So in between those letters, like, what are some of the other jobs? Like, say I was a younger person. I'm like, in my mid-30s, and I'm thinking about, I'm going to give New Mexico a try. I'm getting tired of California or something. What would be a job for like a young professional man or woman, mid-30s, college educated? What would be some maybe areas or positions that they could look at for the city of Albuquerque?
Sure, like there's some, we have a planner position opened. in our planning department that would be great for that type of person you were just describing, that has an interest in having a voice at the table for how we do planning in our city of Albuquerque. So that's one of those positions. We have an accountant that is open. We have a personnel officer positions that are open, and those positions are responsible for hiring at the department level. So they review applications for positions, and they set up interviews and work with hiring managers on creating job descriptions and creating interview questions, setting up interview panels to interview folks to work for the city of Albuquerque. You know, one of the greatest perks that I've found working with the city of Albuquerque is you're able to do a variety of work once you enter the city. So for example, after I got my degree at the University of New Mexico, I went into the transit department and I did marketing for the transit department when we were doing the Big I reconstruction. And so I did a lot of marketing towards getting folks to use alternative means of transportation. I moved to the Department of Family and Community Services for several years, and I did labor work, working with the unions, working as a personnel officer, as a matter of fact. And then most recently, I spent 10 years at the Department of Senior Affairs. And so there's so many things that you can do in the city of Albuquerque that you also get the opportunity to change jobs and keep your amount of service years with the same organization, which I think is very beneficial to a lot of folks out there.
So yeah, we'll talk a little bit now about the perks of working for the city. So what is it there? So do you have to put in 25 years or 30 years? What's the requirement before you can retire?
So depending on, like when I came in, it was 25 years. Now that has changed. And so Para has a tier 2. Now I believe it is a 30-year retirement. They also have a rule of 85 where you have 5 years of service and your age has to equal 85 when you can retire. So lots of different para retirement options. Obviously, your public safety has a different para plan also, but the benefits package that we have as City of Albuquerque Public Services is great, with our medical and dental and vision, and just the opportunity to contribute to our retirement fund.
And what is the entry level salary for some of these jobs? I mean, I know here in Santa Fe we have a higher minimum wage than the city of than the rest of the state, for that matter. So does the city of Albuquerque base their like entry level positions on the current current wage level, or do they have something else?
So our classification and compensation group sets all of those up, all of the pay scales up. I'll give you an example of, let's say, an HVAC technician with the city of Albuquerque can start off at about $42,000 a year. And you can go all the way up to applying for a deputy director of economic development, which is currently being advertised right now as a new position that would have a starting salary of just over $77,000 a year.
And then what are the educational requirements for something like the deputy director of economic development? Definitely there's at least a college degree, right?
Yes. So for that one, that would be a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university in public administration, business administration, economic development, and marketing. And then we ask for 9 years of experience in marketing, economic development, hospitality, or public relations, and 6 years of supervisory experience. And so with the city of Albuquerque, many of our positions are many of our positions, education and experience are interchangeable. And so if a person doesn't have a degree, but they have experience, they can use it on an interchangeable basis. So for example, when we're asking for a bachelor's degree from an accredited university, that equals 4 years of experience in that 9 years. So if you didn't have a degree, you would have, we would be looking for 9 years experience plus 4 years. So that would be a total of 13 years of experience in marketing, economic development, hospitality, or public relations to qualify somebody for that job.
Okay, so there's a way of working around that college degree. And then what type of positions like with the city, like where there would have to be a master's degree or higher? Are there such positions there?
Yeah, so like our engineering, our engineers, a lot of the engineers, professional engineers require that. Our attorneys require some of those professional degrees. Librarians require a master's in library science. So all of those requirements can be found on those job descriptions, and they're called out by your minimum education experience and additional requirements. So it's pretty straightforward on the website what we're looking for.
And then, so once somebody applies on your website, does somebody just collect a ton of resumes and then they'll call through them and they'll think, well, we're gonna contact these 5 and just put the rest of them to the side, and then you would get an email saying we want to set up a Zoom interview, and then is there like is there like 2 or 3 interviews that people have to go through to finally get the job?
It's all different. We operate off of a system called NeoGov. So when you go into our website that I talked about, cabq.gov, and you hit jobs and apply for a city job, it will, and you click on one of those jobs, you will also click on apply, and you create your personal profile. Okay, so if you have never applied before, you'll go in and set up that personal profile, and then you'll apply for the job. And there's a list of questions at the end that are called supplemental questions. And those questions sort of relate back to the minimum education and experience requirements. So if those questions are not answered correctly, or they do not match with the years of experience that we're looking for, the system will actually say you do not qualify, right? You did not meet the minimum level of qualifications. If you do meet the minimum level of qualifications by answering those supplemental questions correctly, then your application is forwarded to the department for review, and the department personnel officers screen those applications. They verify the employment years on your application and make sure that that equates to the number of years that we're looking for that are required for that position. And then that's passed on to a hiring supervisor within the city. And that hiring supervisor then goes through and selects the interview committee and the individuals that they are going to interview for that job.
Now, if somebody were to go to all these, fill in all these steps and things, is there like a thing that like an alert button? So say they went to the website for the city of Albuquerque now, and they did all the stuff that they were required of them, but there wasn't a right fit for anything that's available now. But is there something that like a tickler file? Is there something where the city you can get like a, like you can click a button says click here for notices, like up, to be notified about upcoming jobs? Is that type of available?
It is, and what I always encourage folks to do is make it part of your daily schedule or your weekly schedule. Check in and look at those jobs. There's a great filter function that we have, so that, let's say somebody says, I only want to work with the Department of Senior Affairs. So you could filter just by those departments. By the Department of Senior Affairs, and just see the jobs that they have open. Right now, they have 2 jobs. They have 2 general service workers that are open that help with the maintenance of the city's senior and multi-generational centers.
Okay, good.
And so you could filter by multiple departments. You could filter by salary of job that you're looking for, your estimated annual salary. So there's just some really cool functions that you can use to assist you in your job search.
And let me ask you, what is the highest paid position with the city of Albuquerque?
So right now we have advertised that our highest paid position is a principal engineer that's being advertised right now. And that salary range is from a little over 98,000 to a little under 104,000.
So everybody who's watching this interview, apply for that job first. I'm just kidding. So I'm assuming with the city of Albuquerque, the Albuquerque Police Department, that is under the city's umbrella of jobs.
Correct.
Okay, I've been reading recently, not Albuquerque per se, but around the country, there's a tremendous amount of police officers that are retiring, and just all this stuff that's been going on in the past more than a year now. There's been, just a lot of tension throughout the country. What are the job availabilities for the Albuquerque Police Department right now?
So we are looking for individuals who would like to become Albuquerque, City of Albuquerque employees with our Albuquerque Police Department. And I am going to see that website. You can apply to be a cadet. And to go through the Albuquerque Police Department Academy, and just really, really thankful to all of the men and women that are serving in those public safety roles in our city, making our community safe as possible. I don't know if you are aware, or any of the listeners are aware out there, that the city of Albuquerque has also, we're in the process of creating a brand new department, or a brand new department has been created. It's called the Albuquerque Community Safety Department. And so that department is a first of its kind cabinet level department that responds to calls on inebriation, homelessness, addiction, mental health. And it's basically a third option for 911 dispatch alongside the Albuquerque Police Department and Albuquerque Fire Rescue. And so we have some positions in Albuquerque Community Safety Department open also. And some of those that are listed are Albuquerque Community Safety Responders that are advertised in that department. Like I said, is a newly created department. But again, with Albuquerque Police Department, let me just.
And I know they have that program in bigger cities, which is great, because it basically, there's going to be a lot of calls that don't necessarily warrant, if there's a homeless man urinating in the street, that doesn't necessarily mean that police
absolutely
need to come to that, but something else. So that makes sense there. But is there a shortage of police officers right now? Are they hiring not just our actual police officers, not young people, men and women who want to be having to go to cadet school first, but just right now, is there a shortage of police officers in Albuquerque?
Yes. We are looking at hiring police, both police cadets and police officer second class. And those are laterals from other police departments. But with the police cadet position, that is being advertised on a continuing basis. Right now, there is a $5,000 hiring bonus on the website for that. So you could read all about that on the City of Albuquerque Jobs website. There's also some really good information when you go to, I want to make sure that is live. When you go up to cabq.gov and you click on jobs, there is actually an area that says become a police officer. Okay. And when you click on that link, there is some really good information about why you should consider becoming an officer in our city. There is a direct link on that page to apply. If anybody that is listening to this call would like to get more information and talk to somebody live, you can call area code 505-343 5040.
Okay, you know, and here in Santa Fe, we have this, I don't know what it's called here, but they're not, I think it's called non-classified employees. So every time we get a new mayor, like the new mayor brings in their own people to work. And of course, when that mayor's out, so are those people. Do you have that same type of thing at the city of Albuquerque?
We do, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Anna. So we have classified employees and unclassified
So you're
employees.
classified.
I am unclassified. As the department director, I am in an unclassified position.
So if Mayor Keller were to leave, you could lose your job.
I could lose this job as the director of HR. Yes.
So why would you, I'm just curious because we're at the end of the interview, but why would you choose, because there's not as much security. Why would you choose a position like that?
So this, again, I am very passionate about being a public servant for the city of Albuquerque. And when this position was advertised, I thought it would be an excellent opportunity for me to take my HR skills and experience to a higher level with the city. I just thought that a lot of my experience that I've had in operational departments would lend itself really well to being the director of HR. I've always worked really closely with the department directors for this department in all of my positions that were classified. And so I think that I could bring I bring a very good perspective from the operational department level to the leadership level. Is the HR department has a really unique role, right? We have a lot of internal customers with the city of Albuquerque departments, and how do we attract the best quality people to take care of our citizens? You know, we have really important jobs in the city of Albuquerque, and so it's really important that we do that. One of the things that allowed me is there's in our personnel rules and regulations, there is a rule that states if an individual has been in a classified position for 10 continuous years and they move to an unclassified position and a new administration comes on and does not decide to keep them in that post, then I would be transferred into a classified position.
Oh, good. Well, then you have a safety net there.
So I have a safety net to be here. And again, this role has really allowed me to look at, I've been very fortunate with the Keller administration to do my job in a real non-political sense. And so that's been really rewarding.
Well, I'm hoping that this will actually be this interview will go out nationally. So hopefully, maybe on a little tiny scale, this interview is going to help attract a lot of interesting qualified candidates to work for the city of Albuquerque. We are at the end of the interview. Is there anything that you'd like to close with? Of course, I'm going to have all of the information to accompany this interview about how to look at the jobs for the city of Albuquerque. But is there anything you'd like to end with now?
I just want to end with once you're applying for positions, I want people to be really open and honest about sharing with us all of their past experience. Sometimes people say, oh, I don't want to say that I worked at a fast food restaurant a long time ago. Include that. Sometimes you've had a managerial role and that helps you. Experience
with the public, even if you weren't a manager, if you work with the public, those skills, you don't
experience matters, and we want to get a lot of that rich experience that comes with the individual. And so when people are looking at those applications, you're not wasting our time if you're telling us about a good experience that you've had in a job or any job experience that you've had that could add value to the job that you're applying for. So that past experience really matters. It makes you unique. It makes you a unique candidate. So I just don't want people to ever feel embarrassed or ashamed about listing past experience that they've had, because we need so much experience at the city of Albuquerque, and we definitely value it. So I just encourage people to visit our website, take a scroll through all of the positions that we have offered. And I hope that it's a good fit for folks, just as it has been for me. And so as a public servant with 22 years of experience, I think that this organization has grown me both professionally and personally. And so I know that I have a lot of coworkers that it's done the same for. So on behalf of the city of Albuquerque, I just ask folks to take a serious look at becoming a public servant.
Well, good, thank you. And from what I gleaned from this interview was, for sure, be proactive. Once you filled out all this information, you took the time to do it, visit it regularly, like you said, because there's going to constantly be job listings, and just be proactive on your end. And within time, you'll probably get the perfect fit. So Anthony Romero, the Director of Human Resources for the City of Albuquerque, I want to thank you so much for this interview.
Muchísimas gracias, Ana. Appreciate you.
Take care.